I read 14 books this month. I read 14 books this month. And I'm hyped. And I'm here to tell you about them. So if you'd like to hear, here you go. Hi friends. Welcome back to Shelby in the Book Club. I'm SHELBEYMONAE. And in today's video, we are going to talk all things what I read in the month of September. I'm super excited because I read 14 books, which has pushed me to, I think, 86 books for the year, which means if I read 15 books in October, I'll make 100 before the end of the year. And that's kind of what my goal has been in my mind, so that I'm reading over 100 books this year. I'm super excited. Before we get started, everything will be linked where? In the underneath bar. Where is the underneath bar? It is underneath the video. All right. All books mentioned, how to join the book club, how to listen to the podcast. I have a podcast, by the way. It's called League of Extraordinary Readers. All of that is in the underneath bar. All right. And without further ado, let's get into it. Wait, I forgot. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. That's important. We growing our family, and I'm trying to get to 15,000 before the end of the year, and I think we can do it. Y'all just gotta like, you gotta comment, and you gotta subscribe, and then you gotta share it, so that the other people know. You got to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. All right, we can start for real this time. Okay, if you see me looking down, that is because I'm looking at our homegirl. I like to call her the mini girl. And since the last time y'all saw her, she got a little makeover. She got some new stickers. Ain't that cute? Some of these stickers, most of these stickers. Okay, the majority of the stickers, I had to think about it for a second, came from the Biffle book box, which is a book subscription that I do have a code for, which is SHELBEYREADS. So the box was awesome. It is a romance book subscription catered to indie authors. Look into that. And then this sticker here comes from Cover Snob, which you guys have heard me talk about plenty of times, which I'm going to talk about again in this video. I also have a code for them if you would like a discount. It is a Black owned book box for romance books also as well. So the code for that is SHELBEYMONAE. I'll put that on the screen somewhere. But that's where the stickers are from, because I know y'all gonna ask. But that's where I got my stickers from. Our homegirl got a makeover. And she got one on the back too. So that's that. So if you see me looking down, I am looking at our homegirl. All the pictures of the books will be on the screen, so that I didn't have to rummage through all of my books and stuff to find them to hold up for you. Excuse me. This is also where I do most of my e-reading. I think some of y'all knew that, some of y'all did not. But yeah, like I said earlier, everything will be linked down below. Everything that I talk about in this video is linked down below. Okay? Everything. Everything. It's not that I don't like talking to y'all. It's just y'all be asking me questions that if y'all would just look at the description box, the answers are there. I do like talking to y'all though. I'm just saying, I do all that work just for y'all to find a reason to, it's there. Okay, let's start with September's stats. I read a total of 14 books. That is 3,564 pages about. I find that sometimes on StoryGraph, the page count of the books are a little bit off. So that number could, like, give or take a couple of pages. So there's that. 62% of it was fiction. 38% was nonfiction. My top genres were romance, contemporary, memoir, historical fiction, and horror. 43% was digital. 36% was audio, and 21% was print. I feel like I thought I read more print than I did. I guess not. Average book length, 270 pages. Sounds about right. And it took me an average of 4 days to finish a book, which also sounds pretty accurate. if you are not on StoryGraph, one, if you are on StoryGraph, please follow me there. Two, if you're not on StoryGraph, I'm about to show you a reason why you should be on StoryGraph. This calendar, oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. It really gives me a good depiction. And what I've been doing in my planner is I go based off of this calendar and I highlight in my planner on my calendar, and put a little key. It's so cute. If y'all want to see that, let me know. I don't know if I'm gonna show it to y'all for real because it ain't as cute as I want it to be. I might need to master my journaling skills first, but I love this calendar. I really love StoryGraph because of all the different stats and such. It is a phenomenal app, and I know a lot of people are apprehensive because they've been using Goodreads for so long, but all the things that you want from Goodreads that Goodreads already told us they wasn't updating nothing, it's on StoryGraph. Deal with the learning curve, okay? It's not gonna kill you. So those are my stats for the month, and then we can get into my reading. So these are in no particular order. I'm just going through as I see them on my iPad. So first we have The Jinn Waits 100 Years by Shubna Khan. This was a Shelby in the book club pick. What happens is I usually read the book club pick the first week of the following month when the book discussion usually is. So I don't read it throughout the month because I don't want to forget anything and I want to be able to speak to the book freshly. So this tells a story of a young girl who loses her mom at a young age. She also loses her twin. They were conjoined. Her twin passes away also as well. And her and her father moved to this house that is haunted by a jinn. And she is trying to figure out like why the house is haunted. There are a bunch of different people living in this house. And the jinn kind of reveals the story to her of a woman and her experiences living in the house. So the story that we get is very, very interesting. I think that was my favorite part of The Jinn Waits 100 Years, is learning the history of the house that her and her father had moved into. Like, he was very specific about wanting to live near the water because that's what her mom wanted for them before she passed away. And it's very much this exploration in how history repeats itself in some ways, how we can prevent history from repeating itself, and learning that your mother is a woman first before she is anything else, right? Like, the main character kind of had it in her mind that her mom hated her, when in all actuality it probably was a case of postpartum depression, regular depression, on top of her being sickly. Like, there was just so many moving pieces. The only complaint that me and the book club had about this book was my understanding of jinns was a little bit different than the depiction that we got in the book, which brought up this conversation of maybe we need to study our mythical creatures a little bit more. I've always known jinns to be this like very powerful creature, and this kind of depicted a more docile, calmer version that I wasn't really anticipating. Story was good overall. Again, I really enjoyed the flashback part where we were learning about the history of the house and the people that previously lived there. So that was that. Next, I'm just going to talk about these two at the same time because it's a part 1 and a part 2. It is Permission Please and Permission Please 2 by Masterpiece. First of all, y'all know this is a Masterpiece stan account. She writes, her and ML Bash write perfect men to me. The ones that ML Bash write, which we'll talk about a little bit later, are usually insane. Masterpieces too, but they have some semblance of like, oh, like he not crazy, you know, does that make sense? So Permission Please and Permission Please 2 is about Beamer. If you've read Bow Down and Vision, you know that these characters all exist in the same universe. Beamer is also a dom. He he is accustomed to having 2 women at all time, like 2 subs all the time, and then he meets his woman. I love when a book is very much like, oh, he will do right. Not that the way that he was living his life was wrong, but like, if he wanted to, he would, right? And the reason that he not doing all the stuff that you want him to do is because you ain't the one. So in the first one, he has a business deal, meets this chick. There's things going on with her father. He owes them some money and all this other stuff. And he sends his daughter to like seduce Beamer to try to get away with whatever all is going on. That does not go the way that her father wants it to. She ends up falling in love. She is introduced to this particular lifestyle, and Beamer is like, I'm gonna have you on your knees saying permission please. He also as well would have me on my knees saying permission please, but that's nobody's business. Okay, this is very much a cushy book. Did I say that already? Very much a cushy book. It ends on a cliffhanger. We get part 2, and Beamer he's had to figure out that she is the one, and that he has to make certain adjustments so that he can have what he wants. Phenomenal. Chef's kiss. Masterpiece. Girl, friend, cousin. I'll read anything she writes at this point. Literally, I'll read anything she writes at this point. Next up, we have The Rich People Have Gone Away by Regina Porter. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that sometimes in my stories, 1, I like to talk in the dark. If you know, you know. 2, every once in a while, if I'm reading something, I will put my reactions in my stories. And this was a book that I reacted to. The Rich People Have Gone Away is a very interesting story because on the surface, it is a mystery about a pregnant woman that goes missing after an argument with her husband, right? Underneath that, it is, a conversation about the mental effects that the pandemic had on everybody, right? That for some people, it was an excuse to hide themselves. For other people, it showed them who they actually are. And not just the pandemic, but tragic events, right? How a tragic event could give you the opportunity to start fresh, literally. Like, you could just disappear, baby, if you wanted to. And that's all I'm gonna say. It's written from a bunch of different perspectives. If you've ever read Sweet, Soft, Plenty Rhythm, is that the name of the book? Hold the phone. Sweet, Soft, Plenty Rhythm. I think that's the name of the book. If you've ever read Sweet, Soft, I keep saying it because, yes, it's by Laura Worrell. I can speak. I will put it somewhere on the screen also as well. If you read Sweet, Soft, Plenty Rhythm, take a shot for every time I've said the name of that book. But if you've read that book and you like the writing style, I think you'll love The Rich People Have Gone Away because it's written similarly. I think when I read the synopsis of The Rich People Have Gone Away, similar to when I read the synopsis of Sweet, Soft, Plenty Rhythm, I expected one thing and got something completely different. Not that it was bad. It was not bad at all. I enjoyed both of the books. I just had something different in my mind than what I actually got. So keep that in mind if you read that one. Next up, we have Stash, My Life in Hiding by Laura Cathcart-Robbins. Laura Cathcart-Robbins. I can speak. This is Laura's memoir. If you listen to my podcast, The League of Extraordinary Readers, I just drew a blank there for a second. If you listen to my podcast, you know that this was our first book of the month for the podcast, and Jess and I were able to interview Laura. It is a phenomenal memoir. She talks about her life and her struggles with addiction, right? She gives us a look inside what made her decide to get the help that she needed, and what that journey to getting clean was like, as well as her falling in love on this journey also as well. Great story. I highly recommend the audiobook because it felt like I was on the phone with a friend. I love it. And then you guys can go over to the podcast and listen to the episode where we interviewed her. She had great things to say. She was super cool. Next, I have another memoir, Armed with Good Intentions by Wallow267. You guys may say, Shelby, whom all is Wallow? I know you've seen him across the internet. He's from Philly. This is his memoir about his life and his experiences going to jail. He started his life of foolishness at a young age. He talks about the decisions that got him to going to jail, right? And how he turned his life around to get to where he is today, which I think is awesome. One thing that he talks about that kind of stuck with me is he was young and had a sexual encounters with a woman that was a lot older than him. And I like that he had this discovery that was sexual assault. I think often young boys are taught that dealing with an older woman makes you the man and makes you cool. Like, oh, you 15 and you bagged a 30-something-year-old. No, that bitch is a predator. A predator. You were assaulted, baby. So I like that he had that discovery. There's also a lot of talk about his relationship with his mom. Like, I really want to sit down and talk to him. Like, it made me feel like he was my uncle, you know, like a family. I really enjoyed it. Highly recommend the audiobook for that one also as well. He reads it. And I often think that memoirs should be read by, or autobiographies, whatever, if we can. Well, autobiography is written by, whatever. If it's about their life, they should read it. That's what I'm trying to get at. Editing Shelby here. The definition of autobiography versus biography was whooping my tail. Okay, so an autobiography is the story of someone's life written by them, whereas a biography is the story of someone's life written by someone else. What I was trying to say was, memoirs and autobiographies should be read by the author, but then I was getting confused. It was a lot happening. Thank you for watching. Next, my favorite book of the month, and I read some very good books in September. Sky Full of Elephants by Sibo Campbell. My God, today when I tell you he is writing his tail off, my God. Oh my God. I knew that it was going to be a good book because of the synopsis. I knew that, right? The synopsis tells us all the white people have gone away. They have walked into the ocean. Vamoose. They are gone, okay? You know what I'm trying to say. They is gone, right? And now it's only black people of color left. What all does that mean for us? When the oppressors are gone, what does blackness actually mean, right? Because we are taught that our blackness is wrong on so many different levels, right? Our history is a culmination of telling us why we are not great. And if the thing that caused all of that is gone, what do we do now? It is phenomenally written. It is so smart. It is so thought-provoking. And it's one of those stories that if you don't read it completely, you will not understand it. Listen to me again. If you do not read it completely, you will not understand it, because there's a large part of the first half of the book is about self-discovery for the two main characters, okay? If you want to know more, I did do a review for it. It is up on my channel. It's the video before this one, I believe. If I remember, I'll tag it in the video somewhere. You have to read it. It is phenomenal. It is going on my list of top 5 favorites. Like, oh my god. Next, ML Bash, Who You Belong To. This is also a coochie book. You guys may remember me talking about her book, You Hide, I'll Seek, earlier this year. In my Spicy Rex book. A lot of you read it. Some of you talked about how you didn't like it. And I'm here to tell you, that's okay. Everything ain't for everybody. But I feel like if you're going into specifically erotica, specifically a Halloween erotica, you should go into it with an open mind. Okay? You should also be reading the warnings and all of that stuff in books beforehand, because I know ML Bash puts those in her books. Okay? I say all of that to say Who You Belong To is a continuation of You Hide, I'll Seek. Absolutely loved it. 7 is figuring out her relationship style with Kenji, Gale, and Trip. Absolutely enjoyed it. I love Kenji. I will always love Kenji. He is absolutely insane. He does not think about anything that he does first. He just goes with the first thought that comes to his mind, and I love that for him and 7 because it leads to a lot of interesting sex. Gale turned out to be my favorite. I love him. Big old murderous teddy bear. I love him. He has some anger issues, but he's aware of the anger issues that he has, so he controls himself in a way, which I very much enjoy. And then Trip is just there to make sure the girls is satisfied. Trip is in a relationship. He has his anchor partner. And they are in the story, and I like their relationship. I kind of want to see, I'm gonna have to send ML Bash a DM. I kind of want to see more about Trip and his anchor partner. Their relationship was very cute, and I kind of want to see where they go from where the book ends. Who You Belong To was perfection. I read it in one sitting. And it is 400 and some pages. I read the whole thing. Phenomenal. Another memoir, The Deaf Girl, a memoir of hearing loss, hope, and fighting against the odds, by Abigail Herringer. This one I kind of happened across. I listened to the audiobook. She is reading it, which I love. It tells her story, her life story of hearing loss, right? She is deaf, but she's also the first deaf person to be on The Bachelor. So she was a contestant on The Bachelor. I don't watch The Bachelor. All the information in this book about The Bachelor did not apply to me. I didn't know what all that baby was talking about, but it was interesting listening to the struggle she's had with her cochlear implant growing up. So her and her older sister were both born deaf, and their mother decided for them when they were young that they would get a cochlear implant. I knew nothing about cochlear implants other than what I've seen on the internet. So it was very eye-opening for me. I did not know that she was still considered hard of hearing with the cochlear implant. She talked about some issues in high school, and I said, baby, I'm glad to have the life that I have. Because if Gay Gillespie had to raise a baby that had disabilities, she probably would have been at the jailhouse, because the way Abigail was describing one of her teachers giving her issues about the one of the like services that was offered to her. So I forget exactly what it's called, but it was a translator type situation, so that she was getting all the information that she could. Because again, with the cochlear implant, the way that she explained it, she said that there was like depth perception issues. So like if somebody was across the room talking to her versus the person standing next to her, it all sounded the same, and she had to say huh a lot, like, or ask people to repeat themselves. So the teacher had to wear like this headset so that someone could translate what all was going on for Abigail, and the teacher would make a fuss about it. And Abigail talked about how she was super shy. And she didn't want to cause a scene, but this teacher had given her and her sister issues. Baby, when I tell you Gay Gillespie would have lit a hole into that place, my God, today. Next up, we have Zoo Boys Street Chaos by Tatiana. I have complaints. She put this book in orange font. Hell on earth. Terrible and bad. I read it. It wasn't a bad book. It puts me in the mind of the Butterfly series, or like the Ethics series by Ashley Antoinette, which I hate recommending to people, but that's what it puts me in the mind of. Just with how the story goes. So they are a bike crew, and they're called the Zoo Boys. It ends on a cliffhanger. It wasn't bad. What it did make me want to reread is Bash and Pharaoh they're two separate books. Hold on one second. Bash, Casey Mills. So it's the Wolf Warriors series. One is Pharaoh, one is Bash. That's what this put me in the mind of. If you are looking for black motorcycle crew boys, whatever the case may be, I would say read those. Zoo Boys wasn't bad. It was okay. But that orange font, Tatiana girl, don't do that shit no more. Never again, friend. Don't do that ever again. Next, we have The Truth According to Ember. I actually have the book right here. The Truth According to Ember. This is a special edition that I got from Cover Snob. If you guys like special edition books, if you are a collector of books, if you like romance by Black and brown authors, I highly suggest you getting this book subscription. You can use the code SHELBEYMONAE for a discount when you do. The Truth According to Ember tells the story of a indigenous girl. Her name is, why I can't remember that baby name all of a sudden. Ember. Her name is Ember. I was like, Shelby, what is happening? Ember likes to lie a little bit, and some of the lies are not big lies, but like she got lying issues, so she a little unreliable, but she lies in order to get a job that she needed. If you like forced proximity, if you like forbidden romance at work, if you like family drama, this is definitely the book for you. I thought it was super cute. It does have the C word in it. I don't like the cock-a-doodle-doo word. Let's pause here for a second. For a bunch of heifers that read books all the time, whenever I say that I don't like the cock-a-doodle-doo word, y'all be like, what's the cock-a-doodle-doo word? Of all the things that I say backwards, that's the easiest one to figure out. What's the first word in cock-a-doodle-doo? Anyway, the cock-a-doodle-doo word is in this book. I ain't like that, but it was only in there like once. So it ain't terrible. I won't tell you not to read it just because of that. Next, we have The Gangs of Zion. This is also a nonfiction. I did really good with nonfiction this month. If you listen to my podcast, shameless plug, you know that Jess and I did an episode where we talked about our Q4 anticipated reads. This actually came out in September, so it is not a Q4 book on accident. I bought it. The reason that I bought it is because the synopsis talks about gangs in Mormon country in Utah, and that blew my mind, right? And I wanted to learn more. The author, Ron Stallworth, also wrote The Black Klansman. Not a bad book. This one is not a bad book. It felt like he was trying to prove that he could be this great black man and a police officer, and not necessarily talking enough about what I wanted to know about Mormons and gangs, right? We do get some information. I felt like I wanted to call up a gang member from Utah. I don't even know no gang members from Utah, but I felt like I wanted to call up a gang member from Utah and ask them questions, because I still had some where this felt like it was a continuation of where he left off from Black Klansman, right? So it was more talking about his experiences as a Black police officer and that sort of thing than it was getting into the nitty-gritty about the Mormon church and gangs, if that makes sense. It was not bad. It's one of those situations where the synopsis was written to pull us in, and it didn't like match up all the way. I learned more about his life than I did about anything else. And then last but certainly not least, I have Love Like That by T.S. Martin and Love Like This, which are a part of the Love Secret series. So the first one tells the story of a woman who is a undercover detective, and she becomes a detective because she was working, or no, she had an experience in high school where these dudes did a drive-by. She wasn't harmed or anything like that, but she met this guy there, and they've been like fantasizing about each other their entire lives. So she has a job in California that takes down this kingpin that she was the lead on because she was undercover as his girlfriend. Okay. And she realized that she fell in love with this dude, which leads her to coming back home and finding the guy from the high school incident. Come to find out, he is also a kingpin in his own right. That's all I'm gonna tell you. It's a little bit spicy. I would consider it a coochie book because the menfolk is nasty. So that's Love Like That. Love Like This is about his friend, no, his brother, because there are three of them. It's about his brother and their best friend's sister, who is their third. So the best friend is like their third member of their little crew. And his brother is in love with Siobhan, who is their best friend's sister. And there's like drama behind that, and him trying to figure out, like, I promised my friend that I wouldn't mess with his sister, but I'm in love with her, and like he gonna feel like I lied to him all these years, and blah 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 blah. It was super cute. Again, I consider them coochie books because both of those, baby, when I tell you both of them 6'4", 200 some pounds, thick in all matters of the word, I thought they were cute. But yeah, that's all that I read for the month of September. I had a really good reading month. I didn't tell y'all. Let's go back and see exactly how many books I'm at for the year. I'm at 87 books for the year. So by the end of October, I want to be at 100 books, and I think I can do it. If you made it this far, leave a purple heart in the comments. Leave a purple heart in the comments if you made it this far. Let me know what you read in September. If you're interested in any of these books, if you'll be reading them. And without further ado, I love you. You are kind, you are smart, you are important, if to no one else, to me. Bye, friends.